All right, we are live. Welcome to Journey to Bliss. I am Miss Bliss, and we have an absolutely exciting guest tonight, Miss Sharon Gordon. We are going to be promoting her book, Sheribaby, which I have already started to read, and I am a little bit past the middle of the book, and I am so excited to tell you guys about what's been going on. And Sharon is a actress, a producer, an author, and an award-winning storyteller. And I might have forgot some things. So Sharon, I want you to take this opportunity to introduce yourself because I'm not doing any justice here.
That is great. You did great, Miss Bliss. that I so just straight off the bat, thank you for having me, and thank you for having me on your journey to bliss. Right? It's a pleasure being here with you and meeting your audience and all that. And as you can tell from when you met me last week, I it's not good. I need to be able to just share all these things, but it's so many things that I do. I've been so blessed. And so sometimes when I hear people talk about the things I've done, I go like, "Oh yeah, right, yeah, I did do that." You remember last time, like, "Oh yeah."
Yes.
But I've been blessed to have a good life and an interesting life that has made me live many different lives and contributed to my community in many ways that has been positive and uplifting and always forward moving. And so usually I've been a journalist. My training has been journalism for years, media, all that. That's I wrote for the Jamaican Weekly Gleaner as a columnist and also as just one of their key writers for many for decades, and other newspapers that I know you're familiar with. Like, I'm one of the founding writers at Caribbean Life. Simone Gill, who founded Caribbean Life, was a friend, and so we were part of that pioneering effort. There's just so many things. Gil Bailey being on radio with the godfather of reggae. I know a lot
Yes.
of people don't even know those names anymore. We have to keep those names alive because those are our pioneers. They're the ones that carved the way. So now we have all these various, reggae and dancehall and Caribbean and soca vibe going on radio and on different platforms. They were the ones that created that pathway on which we're all traveling now. And so there's a lot and lot and lot and lot.
And you're a host
I'm an
also.
author. Huh?
You're a host also, right?
I'm
You
a host.
host.
I host a lot. I just had a weekend of hosting. I'm a very in demand mistress of ceremony, hostess with the mostess is what I be.
Yes.
I can run any room at any time, no matter the occasion. It's what I do.
Oh.
If it's a poor frog that doesn't praise his own pond. So I guess I need to be praising my pond more.
Yes, yeah, and I could see why after seeing you at Jollof Restaurant, like I could see why you are an award winning reader because storyteller because I was just like them little pieces was already like grasping me and pulling me and then so I was like, okay, because I'm so busy, running around and I was like, I know I'm gonna want the audio book, but then I'm like, but am I gonna like the voice? But then when you said you were reading it, I was like, okay, it's a done deal.
Yes,
I
yes.
don't need to worry about it because the way you tell the story is with a lot of passion and enthusiasm and you could feel the emotions flowing through while we were there eating and I was just like, oh, she should stay a little bit longer and tell some more. That's how good
Oh,
it was.
thank you. Thank you for that. Yes, I am an award winning storyteller, just having won the What's Your Story Jamaica award in February 8th, actually, at Half Moon in Jamaica. That's the 2025 edition. Deborah Earhart is the person that puts that together. And for me, that was a big, it was we would call that a denouement moment, right? For me
Yeah.
to take a story that was, and you'll see more about it. Deborah she does this every year, so she uses the recordings of the performances as fundraisers as she raises funds, because it is a cash prize that you do win, as the first place, second place, and third place. And I won, and there were over 300 and something contestants in that. And that's why I said it was a denouement moment, to win that. But I am a storyteller, and I'm a damn good storyteller as well. And I've always told stories, and my friends have begged me for years to, when are you going to write these stories down, Sharon? And I've always felt inside of me, like I said, that, I want to write those stories. But I also was, very vulnerable and didn't want to show that vulnerability. Not, you know how we go through that as women, especially women like we be,
Yes.
melanated, and all that we go through. And so there comes a time though in life when things really align, and I'm in alignment, and I can tell because of how things are just falling into place. And Sherry Baby was part of that alignment, that denouement moment. And so I'm just embracing it. I'm on the journey, like your show is, Journey to Bliss. I'm in bliss, and I'm on the journey to more bliss, bigger, better, and only more. Can I get more of that, please, universe?
Yes, yes. You
Oh,
see the kisses
I'm
on the
gonna be
screen, they
bliss.
coming at you. We're just
Yes,
throwing them at
please
you.
send
More
me more
bliss.
bliss, universe. Send me more love and more
You know,
peace of
with
mind.
so
And lots of Sherry Baby's books being sold, and lots of audio books being
I
sold.
know.
By
So
the millions, by the millions. Yes, go
I have
ahead.
a question.
Go ahead.
Is this your first book? Because
Yeah, it is
I
my
I
debut.
swear to
It's
you,
my
I was like, she
it's
must
my
have written a
debut.
book before,
Mhm,
because for you to
mhm.
have this much success on your
I
first
know
book,
everybody's
you
talking
definitely are in alignment. It's like
about.
the universe is just putting you in position for where you need to be and just lining you up, because it's very successful and it's well written. And I'm like, no, the way you're telling the story,
Go
I was
back
like,
that part. Go back to that part, and it's well written. That part, it's that part that I want people to thank you for saying, because it's that part, and that's why I think it's getting the love that it's getting, because part of the marketing that I'm doing with Sherry Baby, because if you see the cover of Sherry Baby, you would think it's a children's book, right? You think it's a children's book because of the beautiful artwork done by Marlon Wright. Shout out to Marlon Wright and what he did. Am I getting it right? And what he
yes,
did with Cherry Baby, circa 1969, 1975, Kingston, Jamaica, downtown somewhere. Well, downtown parade is what we would call that, by the Ward Theater. And what we did here was, how we judge a book by its cover, Miss Bliss.
hmm
That's what folks do. They just be judging a book by its cover. And so I say to people, you know, Sherry Baby ain't a children's book at all. It's told stories told by a little girl, but ain't nothing childlike about this book. And the story. And so pick it up, I say, pick it up and read it. And once you've picked up Sherry Baby and you read it, you will conclude as well that it is well written. And
yeah,
that is the blessing that you hear me talking about when you heard me speak the other night, and everywhere that I've been speaking about it, is a blessing when it's a blessing, because that's in the knowing. Like, I don't believe in God, or I don't believe that there's something greater than me. I know these things. These are not
right,
beliefs. There's some people who are in beliefs. That's the stage they're at. I'm not at that stage. I've paid my dues. I have grown. I've earned the PhD in the studies. You know what I'm saying, my sister? So
yes,
when you're in there and the universe blesses you, the universe, then what else? Then if it's not so, then why are we here doing it then? Why are others? Why is it this is what we strive towards? Right?
right,
The blessings come, but you must be ready to receive them, and you have to do the work. There is work to be done. It is not some overnight. You're meeting me and thinking this is some overnight success. No, it is not. There's work that has been done. And so the blessings meet the blessings. And I meet a Miss Bliss, and Miss Bliss brings me to her platform. And I am sharing Sherry Baby. She is sharing Sherry Baby to an audience that I would not have even, and big up shout outs to Sister Kafunya. Again, everyone who's just on this journey with me, the journey to bliss, to
yeah,
get Sherry Baby, because it's a movement, this little story here, this, and it's not a little story because it's a very complex tale, a simple a read as it is. It's an extremely complex tale, right? The
it
social
is,
commentary is
yes,
amazing.
let me tell you, in this book, like, so I'm a little more than halfway through. I have been educated in this book. I want to let you guys know I have been educated in this book. I have been inspired because I'm not going to give too much now because y'all want y'all to get it on
No,
your
no,
own.
no,
But
no, no spoilers, please.
there's an entrepreneurship inspiration because
Hmm.
that's my
Hmm.
thing. And I'm
The
like, wow, I'm
levels, you
like
see the
intrigued
levels.
the
Yes.
entrepreneurship, and then there's
Mhm.
mention of
Mm,
gold coins in it, and I'm like, wait a minute, gold coins?
mm,
We talking
mm,
financing? We talking money,
mm,
investments?
mm,
I'm like,
mm,
okay, check for that,
mm,
check for that, and then
mm.
there's for all of you witchy people out there who like a little OBI witch,
A
because a little
little
bit of
old
that
beer up in there too. A little
sprinkled
old
up
beer in
in
there.
it.
Have to have some in there.
Yeah,
We
I was like,
sprinkling.
wait, the OBI,
It's
what's going on here?
real. But it's
And then it's
real.
still the Christianity is tied up in it
Christianity
too,
is
which
there,
is how our culture.
The Catholic Church and the influence in Jamaica. Yeah. Yeah. Because it's a
Yes.
specific period that I'm writing about. And we should let your audience know that I'm placing you in a specific town in Kingston. In 1969 you arrive. That's where you open up and meet Sheribaby at 6.5 years old. And by the time she leaves you, it's 1975. And let's just, I won't say anything about the ending. I'll just, you just get there when you get there. But when she leaves you, it's 1975. um and so I'm placing you in a specific, the title, is it's interesting because it's Sheribaby, but the tagline is a little girl's big voice in post independence Jamaica. What am I saying? This little girl that you're meeting is is born the same year that Jamaica became independent, quote unquote independent from the British, right? So when you meet her, just like Jamaica, she's 6.5 years old. So at that time, there's all of this vibrancy of culture and identity and who are we as a people and claiming
Yes.
and entrepreneurship and opportunities. And at the same time, we see where in America it is racism, Jamaica, it's a lot of classism and colorism. And you see how I weave all of that in there because what I've done is to take, and you see, like you said, there's a lot of history. It's chock full of history. So
Yes.
because it's like people have said to me, it's like a time capsule. That's exactly what it is. If you grew up in that period, it's gonna really resonate with you. But like someone like yourself, I have non-Jamaican friends, non-melanated friends, none, and they are loving Sheribaby the same way. We should tell people that yes, it is written in. There's a lot of patois in the dialogue. There's a glossary there for you. But if you are reading it, because I am such, should I just say, a very good writer, all right,
Yes.
I'm a damn good writer. I
Yep.
was
You are.
able to parse it I was able to give it to my readers in a way that even, and that's why we're sharing about language and we put respect on a language, because patois has always been looked to the scorn. So in honor to Miss Lou, who's my mentor, who was Jamaica's first lady of, I call, folklore and language, who said this language is a proper language, right, to be
Mhm.
respected, and it's really an oral language. So we're writing it and I'm following in her footsteps doing that. We're putting respect on patois. I gave a glossary to help those who needed help because even Jamaicans don't even know how to read patois. It's an oral language. So you
Right.
heard that when you were there, when people were saying they didn't know how to say, they
I
could
remember.
say it, but they didn't know how to write it, a certain word. So we're doing that, but it's about educating, right? Because we want to enhance
Right.
and enlarge people's, um, you know, appreciation of what it
Yeah.
is we're presenting to them. So you see that it is a good and I would say a good and very easy read, but because of the complexity of the themes, you find that you go back and you reread. I have many folks who have said to me they're on their second read now. Sheribaby is out 3 months today. Today is 3 months
Wow.
since I gave birth, and people are on their second read. People who have read the book are now listening to the audio.
Yes.
That's what I'm getting to. And so it tells me that all honor and glory to Almighty God and my ancestors, and whose shoulders I stand on and whose footsteps I walk in. but I am glad that I'm a vessel to tell this story and to do this. And I hope that I can start conversation. Well, I have started conversations and broadening the conversations and letting us look at, things like just family and how we are in family, right? How we are with our identity or political identities, because we live by these things. We grow up in a family that's whatever, so that's your identity, right?
Mhm,
And
mhm.
anyway, I'm really passionate about this, as you can tell, because
Yes, yes, I
being
love it though. I absolutely love it.
being
But
real
I think
and
it's
authentic,
wonderful.
authentic. Mhm.
Authentic, exactly. But I think
Mhm.
it's wonderful that you challenge yourself to say, you know what, I'm going to do it in patois. I don't care what other people say, because it's
Exactly.
also educating us about the language,
Exactly.
and it's
Exactly.
sort of exposing our ears to something different.
Yes.
And you want to
Yes.
encourage people that when they come to America, why you mean?
Yes.
Who said you got to leave your culture behind? You want to come
Yes.
to America and be
You
what?
got it. Miss Bliss, you got it. Well, let me say that. Okay. So you, this is you opened the door, so I have to walk through it. So
Yes.
there is going to be a sequel to Sherry Baby, right?
Okay.
Those you're reading. So there will be, and you will see her um, in a space where what you're talking about becomes so real. Again, identity and being transported into another space and time, and how she's able to deal with that and come through that. And because all of this is coming of age, right? She's coming
Yes.
of age and she's telling this story through her lens, not through the lens of those around her, but she's telling their story through her lens. And
Hmm.
so at all times, whether it's politics, whether it's classism, like we said, whether it's the entrepreneurship, whether it's talking about cultural traditions, talking about music, food, whatever, you're always seeing it through her eyes, because that was important to me, that the commentary came from a child, and a female, and a little girl, giving voice to that little girl inside of me, right? Because we write, even though it's fiction, there's a lot of autobiographical stuff in there, because we write our stuff. It's what we do.
Hmm.
And so that's why it feels so real. I took a lot of stories, and I just, well, I was instructed.
Yes, you take well. And a lot of us, when we write stories, we take parts of things that we know about in stories here and there. We pick and we bring it all together
Girl,
so that it's an
girl,
experience for someone who's reading a book.
yes, my sister, yes,
You
you
know,
got it.
and that's what helped me personally, helped
Yes,
me envision while I was, experiencing it through the book, because I was going through emotions, and sometimes I wish I was there to chop. I ain't gonna say no name, but I wish I was there to chop a brother up,
oh
because I
my,
was
do
like,
you know that something, every
"Ooh,
time I hear folk talk about that particular chapter, we
that
can't give
particular
it away,
character."
folks are gonna have to go read it. You all have the same reaction. One of my friends, I was just telling the story. One of my friends' wife was just on a flight to Jamaica, and this is my dear friend. And I don't want to blow them up, but this is a true story. You heard him tell this story at the thing. His wife is on the flight to Jamaica, and she's telling him that she's having outburst on the plane, and he's saying to her, what's going on, what happened? I'm reading Sherry Baby, and that damn so and so and so, I wish I
Mhm.
could have just, I wish I could. And he's like, we don't want to say, right? But and
Yes,
he's saying to me, that's the same reaction he had. And then I've had that from so many others, and then that it works. The
yes,
character was well developed, you know.
yes.
And someone said to me in an interview that she liked. I like it when people read. I can't. It's hard for me to do an interview, and I really love when I can talk to people who have read the book or are reading the book, because
Hmm.
again, you can't judge a book by its cover. You have got to read it. There's
Right,
something between these pages here, right?
right.
There's a baby I'm giving you, Sherry baby, right?
Exactly.
She has a life. She has a story to tell you. But you have to read it, or listen to it if it's audio. But she said to me she liked that I respected even the characters I didn't like. She said she's a writer herself, and as a writer, she recognized how I handled those characters, because as writers, we have to deal with those characters that are not necessarily characters, they're not die, you know what I mean? Not to give
Mhm,
away too much of the book, but
mhm.
right? But you have to write them in a way that will resonate with authenticity. It's not about me. It's about the story I'm telling and keeping it real to who these people are in at that time. Because those are real people that existed
Yes,
that I'm pulling from. And so
yes.
how do I resonate with people if they're fake or caricature? I can't do that. I had
Mhm.
to keep it as close to the bone as I could and use language that would evoke the kind of emotions that I'm getting from folk when they read what happens and how they feel about it. Especially this, if there's a character that we can talk about, well, there are few of them, but we don't want to give away too much. But that
Very
particular
few, huh?
one draws the blood every time for folk. The
Woo.
eye,
Honey, I'm like, where's the torture chamber? Okay, no,
yes, yes,
don't
yes,
even
that's
throw him
what
in prison.
don't give
I'm
away
just
no
like,
more. Don't give
we
away no
need
more.
to,
But you're right. You're right. That is
yeah,
the what my friend's wife said then, since you said it is me wouldn't hold him, you know what I'm talking about. She said
yes,
he wouldn't they would have to do, right? So
that's right.
you see the same
That's
thing. You're all
that's
yeah.
right.
It's
Oh my
and so
God.
I feel good. Thank you for that. And I
You're
love when I
welcome.
hear those because as a writer, it's like cooking a meal, right? There's nothing
Yeah.
like when you prepare a meal and you spend the day preparing a meal for your family or friends, your loved ones, or even for yourself. And you sit and you eat it and you enjoy it. It tastes so good, right? That's what
Mhm.
I did with Cherry Baby, right? Cherry Baby is just, mm,
Just your baby. That's your baby, and
so
one
good.
there was one scene with the mother.
Uh-huh.
Like, if you, ladies and gentlemen, if you are a mother, if you are just pretty much if you are a parent, the scene with a mother um came back to
Oh,
Jamaica
all right,
from
all
America,
right. We're gonna
I
talk about
was
it.
almost in tears. I
Mm,
went from angry, at this
mm-hmm,
character to seeing her response. Like, you could feel the love, you could feel the hurt, that
mm-hmm,
the mother was going
mm-hmm.
through. And it's like, I was
Yeah,
just like, oh my goodness. Oh, I can't even imagine.
yeah,
And it was like she
yeah,
couldn't even
yeah,
imagine. She was just like, I don't,
yeah.
what, what? The
Exactly.
whole
And that
village.
was the point. Yes, she couldn't believe that this and what are we
Who
talking
believe
about,
it?
folks who haven't read? We're talking about this phenomena I wrote about in the book of barrel, what they call barrel children. And those were children who were left um people would say to fend for themselves, as in this case, but children who were left with grandparents, grandmothers, aunties, neighbors, pastors, church family, whatever, just different people in the community, the librarian, the school teacher. Children got bored out, or people, lived with them to take care of them, and or they go to just different situations where the parents are gone overseas, whether it was to
Yes.
America, Canada, or England. And there was a phenomena of this and it so happened that these children there was just a whole bunch of children who and I always say can you imagine if we were Miss Bliss to like do if we were in a position where we could do some kind of polling and get to talk to some folks who were these children who were abandoned, these children who were abused, these children whose caretakers disappointed them, these
Hmm.
children who were children whose
Hmm.
parents left them to be taken care of, who were taken advantage of. Can you imagine if we were to talk to some of these people and just track their lives and the
Yes.
trajectory of their lives and see? And so that's
Yes.
why I wrote this, because a lot of people are opening up to me. People have said to me, Sharon, I was left with my stepmother, or I was left with my auntie, or I was left with my grandmother, and the grandmother died, and the people in the yard took advantage of us. Or,
Mhm.
I've been getting stories from people, and the barrel children phenomena is a real thing that happened because people are going overseas in search of a better life, right? In
Yes.
Jamaica, which I wrote in the book, they went in search of the Yankee dollar,
Yeah.
so we're not this is why I used Sherry as my vehicle, as my protagonist, because there's no judgment here. Sherry is just telling a story. Sherry has no agenda, right?
Right.
Sherry Baby has no agenda. She's just
Right.
telling you this story. And that's why the chapters are how they are. If you notice, there's no no chapter is consistent with the next because she's a child. And so
Right.
how her brain works is like that. She might spend a longer time on something and you see her trying to figure it out, or she just said you something, she's gone again because she is a child. And so
Right.
I've said that to people, that even in the timing and the rhythm of the paragraphs and the chapters, they were done with intention because I
Yes.
wanted that to be the beat, the rhythm, because
Mhm.
everything about life in Jamaica is around rhythm and
Right.
beat. Well, us as a people, we move to rhythm. That's why we're
Right.
who we are. But because I'm writing specifically, again, it's a universal. That's why it appeals to everyone because it is true, right? There are truths
Hmm.
there, right? But that beat, a rhythm, I wanted you to feel it even in the way I was constructing the paragraphs and the chapters. So
Yes.
the lengths vary. And if you notice, there are no numbers to any of the chapters. They're
Yes.
just names.
They're just names. But you know what
Yes.
I do? When you mention the barrel children, I want to thank you for opening up my eyes because in school, I had Jamaican
Oh,
friends, right? As a little girl, I
oh,
had a lot of Jamaican friends that came
yeah,
over from Jamaica. And so
yeah.
in school, as I'm growing up, in my mind, I'm thinking everybody who left Jamaica brought over their children. And
No.
so now it's like, wait, barrel children? So not
Yeah.
everybody. So now
No.
I'm just like, wow, this is
Yeah.
like
This is
all
the
of these.
history that we're, yeah. So a lot of your friends, like when I came, I was 16. A lot of people would come at different age. They come and meet their parents. Some of them don't come till they're adults. And it's a whole thing. You have children who's, the lucky ones, it's a year or two, but it's never that. It's always because you had to get, the whole thing was about getting your papers, right?
Yes.
So you're getting your papers. So it requires working here as a domestic or in some kind of manual, lower level job. And a lot of
Mhm.
these people, some of them are even teachers and what have you, but to come into America, that is the story. And they've left their children,
Mhm.
and they spend all their money sending it back to Jamaica and
Mm.
sending barrels home. So they show the love through. So when you meet these children in high school or in junior high school or primary, elementary school, many of them, there's been a some period of disconnection, well, let's not use abandonment, but disconnection, being away from the parent and then coming back together. And that's why, if you remember, a lot of them don't have good relationships because the relationship suffered as a result of some of these ties were never able to be
Yes.
reconciled, right? So these are, topics that are near and dear to me. And like I said, a lot of it is autobiographical in that it's not a memoir and it's not my autobiography, but you write about what you know. We tell the
Right.
stories from what we know, right? And these are stories I know personally, me in the first person, Sharon, knowing it, and also friends and loved ones who I was exposed to, who I grew up with. These are stories that are familiar. And if we can have conversations and awaken a consciousness with you, understand, oh, is this why she didn't get along with her mom? Or is this why they used to, and the stepfather? And oh, I never understood why Jane and her mother
Yep.
seemed so nice. Why they
Yep.
never got along? That was on the line. So there's a lot of that. And so that's what I want Cherry Baby to do. That's what I
Mhm.
want you. It's doing exactly what I wanted, what it set out to do. And it's to
Yeah.
create conversation, dialogue, awakening, awareness, consciousness
Yeah.
around just who we are, why we are, how we are. And,
Right.
Jamaicans would say how we stay, why we stay so,
Yes. Yes.
We
Yes.
got
But
stuff going on. Don't judge a book by its cover. That's
but
why
it's
I
covered.
began saying, don't judge.
Like,
We walk around judging people by, don't judge a book by its cover, man. Get to know something, get to know
yeah.
about something. And that's, like I said, the subtle um, part of the marketing of my book. Because so many people see it and just assume it's a children's book. Oh,
Yes.
you have no idea. No idea.
No, no, it is. Let me
And
tell you, brothers and sisters, it is far from a children's book. And this young lady, I love her feistiness,
yes.
because sometimes I'm just like, yeah, like, speak up for yourself and stand up. And I love that because, in society, a lot of us deal with bullying,
Oh,
a lot
yes.
of times when you're
Yes.
experiencing bullying, it's this thing where, they pick on one person and then it could be this group bullying on this one person. But what
Yes.
always gets me is the other people that see it on the outside. They're not
and
the
don't do
bullies and they're not
anything.
the victim, but they're watching.
Yeah,
And it's like, you got to stand up for
1,000%.
yourself
You
because
gotta stand up.
who
And
else is going to do
that's what Sherry Baby's telling you. You're so locked into it. I love that you're really in love with this protagonist. And what you're describing is exactly the message. That's exactly the point. You have to stand up for yourself. And it is said to her. There's a character that says that to her in the
it?
story, right? Because we want to say it and then we want to underline it and then we're going to say it again
Yeah.
because it is important that you stand up for yourself and this is important that you speak up for yourself, and like I said earlier, it's a poor frog that doesn't praise its own pond. Reverend Daughtry used to say that. He taught us that. And so one of the things as I'm coming into alignment, one of the things that Sharon Gordon, have to start being comfortable in is really looking at all that I have done and really knowing that I'm really a badass. I've really done a lot, and I've contributed a lot, and now this is where I'm at now. This is this phase, the author narrator phase,
Exactly.
right? Best-selling author, best-selling
Exactly. And it's right now, it's like, where do you go from here? It's the only place you're going is just
speaker.
up. Just keep
Only
going
up,
up.
only up, only up, motivational speaker, all of it. Because something, it's the journey to bliss. It's what you're saying. It's
Yes.
what it is. It's just the journey to bliss. We
Exactly.
just, like I said, can we get more of this, please, dear universe? We are in
Yes.
bliss and we just want more. And if that's what I'm on. That's what I'm on right now. That
Yes.
is
Yes.
what I'm on right now.
Yes, absolutely. I want to say shout out to the family who's been over here and I've been ignoring them. I apologize, you guys.
Oh,
So
please,
we
can
got
we? What are you
Devin
saying?
Investments.
Hello? No,
Yeah,
we have
welcome,
not been doing that.
Sharon. Look, good evening,
Oh,
ladies. Sending love
hey,
vibrations. Thank you,
hey.
guys. Peace, ladies. I purchased the book, loving it. I know you are because
Oh,
I'm loving it. So I know y'all
ooh,
loving it.
ooh,
How are you,
ooh.
ladies, doing this evening? I like Sharon's voice in the audiobook. Yes, I love
Oh,
her voice in the
wow.
audiobook. It's the
Yes.
perfect fit.
Ah,
Uh, hey, Miss Bliss. Welcome, Sharon. Shout out to the brother Shaka in Dominican Republic. Hey, Bliss. Great
hey,
to see you
Sean.
back. He's in Dominican Republic. Explore the world. Toronto is here. Toronto in the house. Yay.
Hey, Toronto. I'm going to Toronto on the 26th for my
That's why.
book
Okay,
launch.
that's why.
Yeah, I'm on a tour, as you know. We'll be in
On
Toronto
the
on
tour.
June 26th. Go to my website, IamSharonGordon.com. Everything is
I
at
am,
IamSharonGordon.com.
let me see. Oh, Miss Gordon rocks. Very, very compelling story. That's from Cassell's.
Oh,
Andrea O'Sullivan, good evening, all.
oh, good evening,
Congratulations, Miss
Andy.
G. Woohoo! Explore the
Oh,
world. Congratulations, cuz. Can't wait to see you in
yes,
Toronto.
yes, I'll be there.
Okay.
And big up Professor Cassels. She's on. Yes.
Yes, yes. Adverum et bonum. Okay, what is that? Is that patois?
At
The good
Burnham,
and the
at
true?
Bunham. That's the motto for my school that I went to, towards
Ah,
the good and the true. And that's what I'm all about. And that means one of my alpha. So I went to Catholic school all my life. So there's a running saying that I have, that I'm a recovering Catholic, because
yes.
that's, yeah, I'm a recovering Catholic, recovering Rasta. So
Right.
because I've had to had serious work done, because when you have
Right.
those kind of you know
Influences in your life.
issues,
Yes.
you got to work through them. So in my
Yes.
recovery of both, and as I'm recovering, whoever just wrote that in the chat, it may have been Andy, at Verum et Bunum means towards the good and the true. If you in your life are thinking prosperity, if you're thinking prosperity in what you eat, in your thoughts, in your being, in what you are, whatever your work is, whatever it is your leisure is, whatever it is that you're doing, if prosperity is your leading, if prosperity is your baseline, then the only way is up. The only way is better. The only way is best. The only way is gooder. The only way is nicer. You get what I'm saying to you? So you have to go towards the good and the true at all time, being good and true to yourself, but then you will do that for others, right? And you live that, you be that. You just don't say it. You be it. You become it. And it is in the becoming that blessings come. and then the blessings flow, and you're
Yeah.
on your journey to bliss. is
Yes. Yes.
is what it is.
Exactly.
And it shows
Exactly.
up in recognize your passion and go for it. And you know,
Yes.
people say that I work hard. My friends who are in there now will say, but I don't see it as working hard because I do what I love. That's why I don't even know that it's work. That's why when people are saying, but Sharon, you did this or you do that, I'm like, oh, yeah, yeah, right. Whoops, that
Hmm.
should go on the, because I'm not thinking, I've just always been that way, right?
Right.
So
Right.
because I'm moving towards the good and the true. That's what was poured into us, right?
Right.
So that's why in the book you'll see that I show the schooling and the impact that Catholic schooling had. Well, the schooling with the way I set it up, where the church, they need to, people will come to understand a lot of the better schools in Jamaica are churches or schools that churches were the benefactors of, right?
Hmm.
So this is how it was done. And so yeah, the Anglican schools like Kingston College, which you're reading about, that bigger, you'll, I don't want to give away too much in the story, but you'll see. And then you'll have the other school, the Catholic school, that, and you have this school and the Methodist school. You have the Seventh-day Adventist schools, but these schools fund are funded by these churches, and so
Hmm.
the children are taught the ideology of whatever that church is,
Right.
whatever that denomination is. And
Right.
that's what I'm showing in Sheribaby, when you'll see where I make one of the characters make the comment that they are the family is 7 day. Sherry's making a comment that this particular character's family is all 7 day Adventists, but they all go to Catholic school because they want the good education. So she that's why I said the social commentary so layered in that, like you have to read and then read again sometimes if it might go over your head. So you come back and say,
Right.
"Oh, there it is," because it's right there. It's
Right.
right there. It's
Yeah.
right, but very
Yeah.
layered.
Yeah. You're right. It's layers to it. Oh, we got an alpha in the house.
Yeah, Alpha is in the house. Those are all my sisters. Anybody saying Alpha? Can I see them? Oh, Carol and
Carol
Andy.
is
Yes,
here.
my Alpha
Andrea,
girls. My Alpha
Andrea
girls are in the house.
O'Sullivan.
They are
Uh,
looking for Clarita
Clarita
is in the
Brown.
house. Alpha girl again. The
Congratulations.
support, the support. Sean,
Shawnee Lee, you
oh,
won't be
Shanae, you want me
disappointed.
disappointed? I absolutely love this book and love Sharon. Thank you,
Yes.
Shanae.
Yes. The
I
support is
love you
here.
all. I love you
All
all
the
so much.
congrats.
Explore the
Yes.
world. Congrats. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Listen, this is the labor of love. I should let folks know that I was sharing with you that this came through COVID. It was while we were in COVID, I wrote, this is what, so many things happened to so many people during COVID. Well, Sheribaby came through COVID. And then, like my friend Courtney mentioned, says, then I turned it into a chair, then I sat on it, right? That's what he says. Turned it into a chair. But you can see why I had to do that with this. See,
Yes.
Carol is saying, read it twice, sis. Yeah. People are saying that to me, that this is like, our own little Shakespeare Chaucer, whatever that, with Chaucer, whatever that, or Wuthering Heights or Bronte's or whatever that we have to
Mhm.
read a couple of times, and because it's so nuanced. There's a lot of
Mhm.
nuance in Sheribaby. And
Yes.
it's so rich and
Yes.
so authentic that if you're not paying attention, you might see the story on one level, but if you have your glasses on,
You see the tension. You see it on so
like,
many. Let me tell you, you were also taking me back in my childhood here in America because of the games that the children played back then that the
you
children
got
don't
that
play
nice.
today. The marbles, the scrimmage, the
Yes,
ring
exactly.
around the rosy. I was even
Rosie.
singing. I was like, oh yeah, I remember that. The children don't play outside today anymore. And I'm
They
like, it
don't
kind of
play.
made
That's
me
the
think
point.
we
Yeah,
should take the children out. Like it.
that's
I hope it
I'm glad you
inspires some
caught
people
that.
to
Oh,
say,
Miss Bliss, you
let the
caught that.
children
Thank
out.
you. Taking the children don't play anymore.
No.
You're not, and that, if you notice in Sherry Baby's world, children played.
Yes.
They studied and they played though. They
Yes.
played. They
Yes.
played. And so how does that help in character development, right? um we like, I know we have some nurses and stuff on here, this frontal, area here, what's going on there,
Right.
how are we doing there, because they're not playing, they're not learning certain skill set, motor skills, coordination skills, reasoning skills. All those things are just, communication.
Yes.
I never knew. You know what's the new word for me now? And I'm
What?
not saying this to be, but it's just in the research and as I was developing the characters, right? And I'm doing the research. I had no idea. Well, a couple of things. I had no idea that socially awkward was a thing. I didn't know that it was such a thing. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? Like,
Yes.
and then I'm like, what do you mean? So what, what then
Yeah.
don't you see the correlation? Don't you see
Yeah.
why it would be socially, they would become
Exactly.
socially awkward if they're not exposed to human
Right.
beings? Being,
Right.
that's why we are being. We're
Right.
human beings. Well, really spirit having a human being experience,
Experience.
being.
Exactly.
We're being. So it's an
Yes.
active word, right?
That's
So I just find all of that. Like that's what I'm saying. The commentary in Cherry Baby, it depends on what kind of glasses you're wearing. The story
mm-hmm.
will resonate on
Mm-hmm.
different levels with you, and
Mm-hmm.
so
Mm-hmm.
there it is. And I like that you're catching it. You're brilliant. Thank
Yeah.
you, thank
Yeah,
you.
I
You
love
you
it. I love it. I mean,
I
like I could definitely see like, say if you have like a gathering at your house and you
yeah,
just like, or if it's outside or something, just do like a nice reading and because we don't even do that when we come together at the gathering,
we're not
you
doing
know?
so, but that's the kind of stuff that I'm doing. As a matter of fact, I should take this time to let folks know Sister Kafunya would be so mad at me if I don't do it. I am going to be at let me get the information correct so I don't mess it up. Clarita
Yes,
just made a good point. She says no interaction. Everyone head is in a phone or a device. And that's the problem. That's
that's right.
exactly the problem. That is the problem. But
That's
let me
right.
get this information right now so that I
Okay.
can tell you where I'm going to be. So
Okay.
I am going to be, thanks to Sister Kafunya and her amazing our team,
Shout
of
out to
course,
Sister California.
Charles Dawes. Yes, shout out to Sister Kafunya and the Right Right Time
Right.
Association, Leroy Graham and all of them in association with um, Caribbean American Society of New York present an insightful book reading live performance by True Tribute All Star Band, music by Tippertone with Jawise, Friday, June 13th, 7 p.m. to 10 p.m., free admission. There's an art display, but most importantly, there will be readings by Sharon Gordon and book signings and conversation. So come see me in conversation at Swift River in Queens, 133 55 242 Street. So 133 55 242nd Street in Rosedale. That's right in Rosedale.
I think I
Um,
have that flyer.
River.
Hold on, let me see
Yes.
something. Is
If
it
we
this
keep
one right
that.
here?
Yes, that's the one. Look at you. I'm telling you, girl, you are on point. I can work with you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank
Brothers and
you.
sisters,
But that's the
here's the
alignment.
flyer.
See the alignment? You see the
Yes,
alignment? See the alignment though. That's what I'm
yes,
talking about.
yes, absolutely. Brothers and sisters, make sure you get out here this Friday the 13th between 7 p.m. and 10 p.m. It's in Rosedale, New York, and you guys can be there. Sharon will have some books for you. She will
Yes,
autograph it for
yes,
you.
yes. And
You
I'll
get
be
to
doing
meet her in
a couple of
person.
readings.
Yes, do the reading. And let me tell you, you guys are going to enjoy the reading. You get yourself a nice little we had sorrel juice, whatever you like, if you want a little, something a little stronger, you could do that too, because that'll really take you
Yes,
into the story,
yeah.
So absolutely, absolutely,
Imbibe them.
absolutely, absolutely.
I
Even,
love it.
what's so funny? Even the scene where they were using natural herbs to heal.
Yes, you
I'm just
saw. You
like, we
caught
don't
that.
even do
You
that
caught that.
anymore. You
Yeah,
know, like,
yeah.
and all
The
of these things,
grandmother.
it's like we just forgot, or maybe society is moving away from all of these things that, you know, that it seemed like we were better, with the natural herbs. Because I was just like, yeah, we don't even do, most of us don't even do the natural herbs anymore. The
We
children don't play
don't.
outside
We
anymore.
don't. We don't.
Where is no
We're
little
moving
no
away.
entrepreneurship.
Right. Right. And you see that. And so there's so many messages that Sheribaby, literally is delivering to folk. If they'll just, like I said, depending on what you have on, if you're just reading what level you're reading at, you know you will get it from she's making some serious social commentary, and it relates
Yes.
to where we are today. And if you're able to catch that, then you'll catch it. But if you're not that person and it's just a nice story for you, catch that too. It's there for you. I wrote
Yes.
it that way, and it was put together that way so that it's everybody can read Sheribaby and enjoy Sheribaby. But if you want to go real deep, then go back and reread Sheribaby, and you're gonna
Yes.
be like, oh, like one of my friends called me just the way. I love how you caught what I did with the ring games, because she said to me, Sharon, even the way you talk about them always playing, there's always activity. They're running, they're skipping, they're playing ring games, or if they're together they're walking. She said you didn't have them even when they were coming. I don't want to give away too much, but those who have read it will know. Even when they were walking as a group, it's always them walking and doing active things. And she's
Yes.
saying that's part of the problem why we're having the breakdown that we're having. And she's like, I love how you use that without hitting anybody over the head. No, but she's like, I caught that because it's like you took me back in time to a time when that's what we did. And we need to probably, you know, just look at that and see how we can apply that at some
Yeah.
level
Yeah. And
now.
look at that and see how it's sort of how we are different, and how the children that are growing up
Yes,
now are different,
are
because
so
they don't
different.
have the things that we have. And so what are they going to be like when they become adults? Like, I mean,
Exactly.
obviously we're not going to have a bunch of social butterflies,
That,
because
no,
they're losing social skills, but they call
socially
it social
awkward.
media.
Socially, yeah. Yes, social media, socially awkward, socially I am, yeah, here we are. Like
Yeah.
anything else, fire can cook the food, it can burn down the house too, can keep you
Yes.
warm, or it can make it too hot. You got to know how to temper it, how to, manage it like
Yeah.
everything else and what you're working with, you know.
Yes. Yes.
That's just what it
Absolutely.
is. This is such a
Absolutely.
good conversation, really. Thank you.
You're
Thank you for
welcome.
that. I really appreciate it. I love a good conversation. I'm a conversationalist, and I really enjoy speaking with people who are smart and people who have taken the time to do the research, and because it makes for your audience having a better experience. I did radio for years. I did what you're doing. I am actually a pioneer in this whole format here.
Yes.
I started an online broadcasting platform called CPR Live many years ago. I think
Wow.
2008, when people couldn't even understand what it was all about.
Right.
And Skyping is what we used to do then to bring us in, and all that kind of stuff. But and I'm just looking at that as we're doing this, right? So this is what I'm talking about, the recall, right?
Yes.
But yeah, it's having good conversations is what I'm known for. When I used to do radio, that used to be like one of the hallmarks of my programs, is that I would have, because I would take the time to read up on my guest and find out about them, so that when I'm
Mhm.
talking to them, I am aware, I'm knowledgeable. One
Right.
of the most difficult things is to have an interview with someone who doesn't know anything about you, but they're pretending. Can I tell you a story that just happened to me?
Yeah.
I am chatting people now. I'm not going to call any names. I'm not going to say whether it was a TV interview, radio interview, or if it was in person. But
Hmm.
this happened. Someone who I sent a book to because I was asked to send the book to this person because it's a
Hmm.
person of note.
Hmm.
Got the never responded, but that's okay.
Hmm.
My publicist Terrell Blackett, big up Terrell, tried to get some kind of response because she wanted to know how to position when
Right.
I would then be with the person.
Right.
No response. Okay, no problem. It's all good. People are busy. Life goes on. Well, the person shows up. Well, we do see the person because I don't want to say too much to give away. But do you know
Hmm.
what the person then proceeds to say to show that they have not read the book? And
What?
watch your reaction when I say this now. Watch your reaction when I say this now. Well, we meet this little girl at age 10 in 1980, Jamaica. The little girl is 6.5 years old. It is not 1980, it is 1969 to 1975.
Yeah.
And then the person goes on to tell a story about passing a particular test by reading what we call cliff notes. And I laughed inside because you see, however you do one thing in life is how you do everything. So this
Mhm.
person has been this way all their lives. And it's not judgment of the person. I'm saying they talk to themselves because people don't know when they're around people like us who read deeper than they're
Right.
revealing, right? And I said,
Right.
aha, I forgive him in the moment, immediately. When I showed it to him, I forgave him because I recognize that this is who you are. So, hey, this was not how you should have been dealt with, right? So
Right.
forgive him. But you see how people tell on themselves? You get what I'm
Mhm.
trying to say to you? Y'all listening out there, get that? Listen when
Mhm.
people talk. Listen. They tell you more about themselves than they even realize. And I
Yeah.
was able to forgive the person, love them, and leave them. But look at that lesson right there. I knew they hadn't read the book when they opened their mouth and said that. And then they
Mhm.
showed me how much this is how they are by what they went on to say as a joke about how they did a test and pass by reading some other
Cliff
notes. And I
notes.
said, wow,
Yeah,
yeah,
I've
Cliff
heard about
Notes,
Cliff
right?
Notes,
I
but
said,
the thing about Cliff Notes is that you don't have the actual experience. It's just that you're hanging off the
no, you
cliff off
don't.
of notes. Who wants to hang off a cliff? Not me. I'm not. I'm
Huh?
adventurous, but I'm not that adventurous.
I'm not trying to, I'm trying to soar. I'm not trying to hang nowhere. I'm not trying to
Yeah,
grip, not trying to hang, not trying to be tied to nothing. I'm just trying to be in bliss and soar
deep
because
and bliss. That's
what
exactly
else is
it.
there to be? Right. But
Nowhere
I
else
say
but
that to
bliss.
come back to what we were saying about just being in integrity, honoring and having a prosperity mindset, an integrity mindset where you honor and respect the thing that you say you're going to do and be about,
Right.
just that's what life is about.
Right, exactly, exactly. I want to create a little banner here. So, what do you want me to put here so people can, if they want to reach out to you or support you, you want to put your
Mhm.
IG? Okay, we'll do IG. IG.
Oh, yes, I am Sharon Gordon at I am Sharon Gordon. And go to my website, IamSharonGordon.com, and subscribe. Please subscribe so you can get all my emails and everything and you know what's going on. And if I'm coming to your town, we're on a tour. We'll be in Queens on Friday night at Swift River in Rosedale, and we're going to be in Toronto at a different booklist bookstore downtown Toronto on the 26th from I think it's from 7 until I think it's 6 until 8. 6 until
Okay,
8. But go to my
so
website and
there's
there
the
it is. You'll get
Instagram.
everything that you need.
I am
Hmm.
Sharon Gordon, and
There's
then
my
there's the
website.
website. I am
Mhm.
SharonGordon.com. Now,
Mhm.
on the website, they can get information and updates about anything that's going on.
Everything that's
Shawnee
going on. Hmm.
Shawnee
Hmm.
says, I am listening enough to know you need to tell us who that idiot. No, we're not gonna tell you who that person is in the book. You gotta go read it. You gotta go read. And
Shanae,
let me tell you,
Shanae knows me. Shanae, Shanae knows
Shanae,
me.
you know the phrase,
Shanae,
Shanae,
I caught that like, wow.
careful what
Shanae,
you
I
ask
did a
for. You know that
wow. I said,
you know that
wow.
phrase, Shanae, careful what you ask for, because me and you are gonna be going, we're gonna have to go get the guns and the blades and take
Let
care of
me
this
tell you.
person,
I couldn't do it. I
because
said, look at this poor child.
woo, I'm
I know
telling you.
y'all. I'm telling y'all not leave people alone. I just wanted to make that point.
It is a good read, guys.
This is
It is a good
beautiful. This is
read.
beautiful.
It
I'm
is.
also gonna be at the Schomburg on Saturday. This Saturday, the Schomburg is doing 100. Can you hear me? Oops.
Yes,
Can you hear
yes,
me?
yes.
Whoa,
I can
can you
hear
hear
you.
me? I was saying
Yes.
this Saturday I'm going to be at the Schomburg. Yeah, yeah, yeah. This Saturday I'm going to be at the Schomburg for those who might want to do something in Harlem, we're going to be doing, I channel Miss Lou and I perform as Miss Lou. So there's a program that we do called Jump Up Jamboree with Reverend Malika Whitney and Michael Manswell and a bunch of other folks. And we're doing it at the Schomburg 135th. It's going to be in the street. It's the kids' party. It's kicking off the 100 year. And right after we finish doing Jump Up Jamboree, which is like a market scene, song, folklore, I tell stories, we sing folk songs, play games, all of that. Then I'm going to be presenting on a panelist about Sheribaby as one of the authors. So I'll be
Nice.
running from that. That is at 1:30 on Saturday. And then my panel presentation is in the same space, but right after at
Okay.
2:45. And I think I have about half an hour. So come check me up there if you're in Harlem and you want to come by to Schaumburg and see me do my thing. Well, do my two things.
Yes. Yes. And let me
Miss
put the
Lou, and
flyer up
then
again
as
for you
author.
guys.
And
There you
then
go.
Friday night, I'm here. On Friday
Right.
night, I'm at Swift River. Don't forget that. I'm at
Right.
Swift River on Friday night from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Okay, and
Yes.
Swift River is in Rosedale, Queens, 133-55 or 53,
53.
242nd Street.
Mm-hmm.
53,
Hmm.
242nd Street. And that's in Rosedale.
Yes.
It's right on the corner of Merrick and 242nd. Right on the corner, there'll be an art display. And I'll be there doing readings from the book and taking your questions and chatting and be in conversation. And Leroy Graham and Two Tribute Band will be playing some musical selections from that era because we're at a specific space and time.
Yes.
In Sherry Baby. It's 1969, circa 1969 to 1975. And so the music will reflect that era. And I have no idea which ones he's going to do, but it's reflecting that's something we
Ooh.
have decided that it will be. Yes, it's going to be awesome. It's going to be a great night. Just and
I
and
must say,
Jawise is playing.
I love the way in the book you have some famous American Black artists from back in that time because I
You
was just
see
like, oh,
that?
wait a
You
minute.
see
What
that?
song is that? Wait, this
You
song. I said,
see
oh,
that?
I know that song.
Ooh, you
So
see that?
I love the play
Girl,
between America, Jamaica, the music,
yeah,
it's like
yeah.
layered, guys. It's
Girl,
layered. How deep do you want to
layers.
go down a rabbit hole?
How deep do you want to go? How granular do you want to get down, Brother Bill Brown? Get down, get down, get down. Oh, girl, I'm telling you, I love it that you are so into Sherry Baby. You got it. Mhm. And a bunch of my friends who are on, you're with the right crew because they are like you see them
Yes.
telling you they've read it twice and they're listening and
Yes.
they love it. And to know me is to love Sherry Baby because I'm layered, you know. And again, it's about not judging a book by its cover because this is what they do. And so we're showing in so many ways that it's a practice that we should, abhor. Absolutely.
Yes. Yes.
Find out about a thing on your
Yes.
journey to bliss. If not, you're going to
Yes.
end up listening and
Oh my God.
missing.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming on the show tonight. I want to
What
say
a
I'm
quick hour. Thank you.
exactly. I am so grateful. I feel your energy. I felt your energy when I met you in person. I want you guys to go out and feel her energy, enjoy the conversation, enjoy the storytelling, just enjoy the book, enjoy life. And I also want you guys to be inspired. Whatever it is you want to do in life or whatever it is you're trying to move forward to, write your own book, I don't know, write a play or whatever it is, just come out and, just get inspired, whatever it is you want to do in your life, because,
Yes.
you can always do it, guys. You can always do it. You can become successful. You can, you
You
have to
can
get into that
do it,
abundance and
and you know
prosperity.
that you
Exactly.
can.
You
Yes.
can do it.
Yes.
Exactly. All right, guys, there's the IG. Please go and follow Sharon on her Instagram and also go connect with her on her website and look out for a part two. And I want to say I bid you all
Yes.
farewell
Yes.
and thank you again, Sharon. I'm grateful. Good
Thank
night,
you.
guys. I
Thank you.
love
Thank
you.
you. Thank
Mwah.
you.
Thank you for watching.
Bye. Bye, everybody.